I'll call the meeting to order. Okay, Jen says she's joining us. So do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Consideration of the minutes of October 20th. Do I hear a motion?
I had a question about that.
Okay,
On the second page. Talking about Guy Williams via Zoom. The third line says the River House was a building that was moved, has fake siding and is in need of replacement.
right. That's wrong.
Yeah, it actually has cedar shakes now, right?
As it should say, it has cedar shingle siding.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Oh, I think I was supposed to write shake. And it came out fake, I think.
Oops,
Shakes are, shakes are not.
well, that's sake. It's not shake.
Oh, it's shake, not fake. Yeah, well, it's anyway, in any case, it's not shakes, it's cedar shingle siding.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, with that change, do I hear a motion to approve?
Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
The summary and background. Wait a minute, no, that's not part of the minutes. Fine. I move we approve the amended.
Okay, do we have a motion? I mean, do we have a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All righty. So the next item is the public hearing and consideration of DRB 2219, David Veneta, application for the replacement of an existing duplex. A request by David Veneta on behalf of Greg and Sabrina Barton, the replacement of the southerly dwelling of an existing duplex. Property is owned by Greg and Sabrina Barton, is located at 787 Ocean Avenue. In a residential medium density R2 zone. The application will be reviewed against the criteria of municipal code, chapter 17-44080 to 17-44100 design review criteria. All right. Okay, this is a quasi judicial hearing. Does anyone object to the jurisdiction of the DRB to hear the matter at this time? Does any commission member believe he or she has a conflict of interest or personal bias? Has any commission member had any ex parte contact or made a site visit?
Site visit.
Site visit.
Site visit.
I should say, I do have some very close friends who live directly across the street to the south, but I don't think that I haven't been in communication with them, and I don't think that's going to influence my decision. Okay, the staff report.
The proposed project is a replacement of the southerly unit of an existing duplex at 787 Ocean Avenue. County assessor's records indicate the existing unit is a 1,450 square foot, two-story condominium that was constructed in 1983 as part of the two-unit Jordan Pacific condominium project. The replacement unit will be a two-story, 2,239 square foot unit. Jordan Pacific condominiums occupy a 7,525 square foot parcel where the residential units are in individual ownership, and the open spaces, including yards, driveways, and parking, are in a shared general common element. The proposed replacement dwelling will have a slightly smaller footprint than the existing unit, with the removed square footage coming from the southern end of the unit. There will be no changes to the gravel driveway portion of the general common element that can be seen in Exhibit C1 included with this report. An enclosed garage and gravel off-street parking will satisfy the requirement for 2 off-street parking spaces. New porches and decks on the southern facade of the replacement dwelling will be within the footprint of the existing unit. The current lot coverage for the whole property is estimated to be approximately 3,750 square feet or 50%. This is estimated to change to approximately 3,650 square feet or 48%. The replacement dwelling will differ from the present unit in that it will be 2 stories instead of 1. This change in height will not be consistent with surrounding 2-story residential development, and the new dwelling will have a roof peak of approximately 25 feet 6 inches. In order to mitigate potential impacts on views for properties to the east, the southernmost wall will be moved northward. The exterior will have cedar siding with white gutters and downspouts. The current floor area ratio is 3,155 square feet over 7,525 or 0.42. The project will change the total floor area to approximately 0.52. The maximum allowable floor area ratio for R2 residential medium density is 0.6. There will be no change to 777 Ocean Avenue, which is the northern duplex, as a result of this project. There is a correction to make regarding landscaping. We do have landscaping plans. Physical copies have been distributed here, and I also have it available electronically. You can bring that up if necessary. Duplexes are required by law to provide no less than 40% of the lot for landscaping, and that consists of 20% must be living plant materials. And based on the correction, yeah, the condition of approval of these appears to be indicated on the landscaping plan. There's a couple things that need to be corrected because we now have a landscaping plan.
I don't have one.
It should be
Yeah, that's on your right,
This,
under your right hand.
that's,
Oh,
and the lighting,
lighting plan.
yeah,
Okay.
well, it's
Never
lighting and
mind.
landscape.
yeah, it appears to show both. And we also have Mr. Veneta available.
Okay. I have one suggested correction in your beginning summary and background. You said the existing unit is 24 or 1,450 square foot, 2-story. It should be 1-story.
There is a small second story portion on the northern part.
Okay, the
Yeah, it's very, very small.
crow's nest thing.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right.
Hmm.
You're gonna call that a story.
Yeah,
I'll accept it.
Based on assessor's records, it's a 2-story structure.
Okay.
interesting. I was wondering where that fell into
Yeah.
the scope of the duplex. Huh.
Or is that it?
Yes.
Okay, Z. So, any additional correspondence?
No, there's not.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing and the pertinent criteria to be considered are noted in the staff reports and listed on the criteria sheets posted on the meeting page of the city's website. Testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed towards that criteria or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or municipal code, which the person testifying believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue preclude appeal based on that issue. Prior to the conclusion of the initial evidentiary hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional testimony, arguments, or evidence regarding the application. The DRB shall grant such request by continuing the public hearing or leaving the record open for additional written testimony, arguments, or evidence. Persons who testify shall first receive full recognition from the chair, state their full name and mailing address, and if appearing in a representative capacity, identify whom they represent. Is there a presentation by the applicant?
Yes, I'm David Beneda, Tulavan Architects, representing Greg and Sabrina Barton. And I apologize, I don't believe my camera is working, but hopefully we can make do here, and I can address you without the camera.
We know what you look like, David.
Oh, thank you. Maybe it's for the better. Yeah, my address is Post Office Box 648, Tolovana Park, Oregon, 97145. Just to give you a little background, the staff report referred to the south wall of the building actually shifting north, and that is in fact the case. It came about, however, as a result of initially looking at the existing portion of the duplex that the Bartons owned for a remodel. They wanted to add a second floor, and as it turned out, the condition of the existing structure was just not structurally adequate, both from a framing standpoint as well as a foundation standpoint. So we did go through an exercise of assessing the condition of the original dwelling, even though it was beyond the setback, the south setback at Jackson Street. We felt if the remodel was minor enough that we could maintain that reduced side yard. However, after consulting with Coastal Construction, it was determined that economically it was just more feasible to replace the entire structure. And so the Bartons actually extended my scope of services to include a new design that you see here this evening. Referring to that south wall, one of the charges that the Bartons gave me was designing the new structure within no larger than the footprint of the original building, as well as meeting the setback along Jackson Street. So there's actually a dashed line on the lower floor plan that hopefully is referred to as the original outline of the existing duplex. And we worked very hard to design this to meet not only the setback, but design it within the footprint of the original. So we've checked all the floor area limitations, height limitations, and are in conformance with that. So I feel good about this design for the Bartons. I feel that it meets all the design review standards and requirements of the evaluation criteria. Certainly, the way it worked out is that the arrangement of the spaces on the new structure pretty much mimic the original arrangement, say the garage location, for example, the interior floor plan, the orientation towards the ocean, of course, with the magnificent view that they have. And in that regard, it harmonizes with the limitations of the site and the adjacent area. One of the advantages of meeting the setback along Jackson Street is it actually opens up the view corridor down the street right of way. So that south wall of the new house actually shifts approximately 10 feet to the north. And therefore the view looking down Jackson Street from properties to the east will actually be enhanced due to the widened view corridor due to that increased setback. Basically, the shape of the house is similar, like I mentioned, in that the garage and parking is in the same arrangement. It really, I think, creates an interesting design in that we've incorporated more of a front porch at the corner of the house, on the corner of Jackson and Ocean, and as well as there's actually a rooftop deck on the west side of the upper floor, oriented towards the view of the ocean. So there's actually more interest and I think a more compatible design that's created by the new design over what's there now. I did want to refer hopefully to the landscape plan as well. I apologize for not getting that in the packet, but I appreciate staff handing that out this evening. One of the charges the Bartons gave me was to upgrade some of the landscaping. If you did in fact visit the site, you will have noticed there's some pretty well-established hedges in the front yard and the south yard adjacent to Jackson Street. We're hoping to replace most of those hedges with new plantings. I've called out hydrangeas in front of the building, for example, in replacement of the existing hedges. And of course, expansion of the existing lawn area as well. So in that regard, I think the landscaping will be updated and enhanced by removing at least most of those hedges. This plan also indicates the light fixtures that are intended to be used. And there's a cut sheet on the right, if you notice it. And that is a dark sky compliant light fixture, a little bit more contemporary in style as well. But that will be provided at various perimeter of the new design. There'll be one at the back porch, one at the front porch, one at the covered deck, and a couple on the west side of the house as well, just to provide general illumination, but not overly illuminated either, because they are entirely a downcast light. So I feel good about the design. I think it is a vast improvement over the kind of dated style of the original house, as well as meeting the setback requirements and providing the off-street parking requirement as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for David?
I don't understand. Is there something wrong with the house that's there right now?
Structurally, yes.
Oh,
The foundation has some major cracking,
okay.
and it really isn't suitable for a second floor addition. So obviously with the existing house over the setbacks already, it just wasn't feasible to either remodel or add on to the existing structure. So yes, it was a matter of time before it would fail structurally.
Anybody else?
Well, I like the fact that you gave consideration to the houses to the east for viewing by moving 10 feet to the north. I think that's wonderful since you're going up. And getting to the landscaping, the hydrangeas, elk. I like the hedges that have been around the house because I think that they're kind of elk they don't really bother them, so I'm just, and throwing it out there that I know that elk will eat hydrangea, so in your landscaping plan, I thought it was just nice with the hedges that you have currently. Clean and just elk sort of proof. Just to throw that out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it was just really a matter of updating him. Sometimes hedges just start out, small, but end up dominating the yard almost. So I think
they
it was
have to
just
be-
time to replace them for the most part. I think we still have one or two that we're retaining, but
Mhm.
yeah, the desire was to kind of cut them back, if you will. And the best way was to eliminate them and replace them.
And this isn't going to interfere with the view of the property that's behind is like a little mini hotel or a B&B or something. And I noticed when I walked by, they were building like a deck to, I guess, enhance their view. So I'm just wondering if the second stories would obstruct that view.
It might reduce their view of the sky, but the existing house was already 1.5 stories, and as staff mentioned, it was classified as a 2-story structure with the kind of rooftop cupola that was there. So I really don't think there's a major impact to their view. They certainly wouldn't be the amount of view they might have of the ocean wouldn't be reduced. For example, I don't think the existing structure was high enough that they wouldn't be able to see the ocean, be able to see the beach itself. So no, I think if anything, there might be a reduction in their view of the sky to the west, for example. But no.
There hasn't been any correspondence from any of the neighboring
No,
in opposition of.
Yeah, I can tell you the Bartons did canvass their neighbors and shared the plans with their neighbors based on my encouragement to do so. I always feel that it's a good idea for applicants in this kind of this case to make sure that there aren't any major objections, and they didn't find any. So I feel good about that.
There haven't been any public comments received.
no.
So the fact that there's a fire hydrant, is that going to come into play anywhere in the construction process that needs to be considered for disruption or?
No, there shouldn't be any impact either to or from that fire hydrant. I mean, it's a major advantage to have one so close, obviously,
Mhm.
but no, there shouldn't be any impact whatsoever to that fire hydrant.
And during the plan review phase of a project like this, Public Works does review infrastructure in the area. So that would be reviewed prior to a building permit being issued.
They didn't have any objections to.
We haven't received a full application for a building permit yet.
Okay.
But we're not aware of any issues at this time.
Would the fence on the west side be retained? Is that?
Yes, it will. It will be retained in its entirety. We'll be designating that an existing fence to remain on the part of the contractor to make sure that it's not damaged or taken out inadvertently during construction.
Well, I'm looking at the landscape plan. And, I don't see anything really wrong with it. I mean, I would like to see, a more extensive landscape myself. And when you read our landscape design criteria, it's pretty extensive. A through L.
Yeah.
Is quite, it goes into a lot of detail. And we haven't really been addressing each of these criteria in our deliberations. But I wonder, I mean, we've got a professional architectural plan here. I just wonder if we need, if it would be within our purview to ask for a professional landscape plan. And full disclosure, I'm not trying to look for, business for my wife, who happens to be a landscape designer.
You can reach her at.
She would be horrified if I said that. But no, I mean, it just seems like we need to up our game, especially after. I mean, this is a duplex in a residential area, so it's, grass and a few hydrangeas, shrubs. There's no certainly adequate, but, after our, experience downtown with the pot shop, which turned out to be, lacking, in my view and others. I think we need to spend more time looking at the landscape criteria specifically. I mean, things like where it's desirable to do so, the design provides amenities for the public. Well, that would be a commercial project, not a residential. The design makes use of existing vegetation, incorporates indigenous planting materials. The selection and arrangements of plant materials provides visual interest by the effective use of such design elements such as color, texture, and size differentiation. The hard surface portion of the design makes use of visually interesting textures and patterns. Whereas desirable to do so, the design provides visual interest through the creation of a variety of elevations. The design contributes to the stabilization of slopes. That's not. The design successfully delineates and separates use areas where it is desirable to do so. So, I mean, if you want to take this seriously, as seriously as the architectural, the architectural details or criteria are quite extensive, and I think this plan is certainly meets all of those. The design avoids monotonous similarity, size, shape, and structure, architecturally compatible with the site. All of those things, I think we could check those boxes. I just think, they are going to eliminate 2 large hydrangea or escallonia hedges. And then, the only addition are these hydrangeas. So I don't know if anybody else is concerned about that, but I would like to, I'd like to just have a conversation about it.
Well, my feeling is that the elk are somewhat of an issue, and wind and the elements, particularly on the ocean front. And that's where I like the hedges that are currently there. They're clean, they're easy maintenance. You
think elk don't bother escallonia?
They don't. They bother anything that they want to.
Well, I think
So there's
yeah.
no,
They won't
foolproof.
decimate. They won't
Yeah.
decimate them.
But I think that that's a consideration just in maybe not giving them something that they really like to eat.
Well, let me ask
And
you.
hydrangeas are affected. I mean, there's probably high winds right on the ocean
Well,
there.
I've seen hydrangeas along the ocean, along Ocean Avenue that look fine, you know, they
Mhm.
down the street, there's a hedgerow of them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
let me ask David, is there no possibility, I mean, because of the proximity to the new foundation, is there any possibility that the Escalonia hedges can be retained?
Yes, yeah, I've had a conversation with the Bartons previously regarding the hedges, and it was my suggestion to replace them. They were receptive to it, and but they could be retained as well, if that's the feeling.
Are Escalonia native?
What's that?
Are Escalonia native?
No, not to here. I mean,
That'd be interesting to
do a,
like Ceanothus or something.
yeah,
I mean,
well, you'd have to go to, you know, Salal or
yeah,
something like.
I just
that.
like the idea of incorporating more native plants.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the Escalonia hedges they're quite well established. How tall are they? Maybe,
Well,
Probably like
for the,
2.5, 3 feet.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
cut. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the neighborhood of 3 feet. You can see from site photo. I think it's on page 7.
yeah, so they could be raised, or they could, if they could be retained, I mean, that would be
Yeah, and they could be trimmed back too. I mean, and that would be fine.
they grow, you know, they grow like crazy, so,
Yeah, particularly in Cannon Beach.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
love
that would be
hydrangeas.
acceptable as well.
What'd you say?
Well, I love hydrangeas, so anything, but just with the understanding that they're susceptible to elk. You know, if they're meeting the percentage of landscape, then
Right,
I'm supportive of their design and what they want to do with the understanding that we'll probably be visiting
yeah,
and appreciating.
unless you have a 7-foot fence, I can testify to that.
Yeah.
Like the idea of stuff that like incorporates, like thinking about like the butterfly trail and, you know, monarchs, they have to, I mean, like,
Right, but you also have to think about, you know, the wind and the elements that
Tough environment.
yeah, it is to grow all those trees.
So,
I know nothing about landscape.
that's not true. You've got a
Well.
very nice landscape. in
Oh,
your
have
house.
enough. Like, right, so
Well, what do we want to do? Does anybody want to make a motion to?
We have to do the proponents' opponents before we make a motion.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Pardon me. Okay, David, do you have any other comments?
No, I think we'd be receptive to a motion, certainly if it's of approval of the landscape plan with retaining the hedges and maybe addition of plant materials on the south side of the addition, for example. Or south side of the house along Jackson Street. So if there's a suggestion or a motion addressing the landscaping, I think we'd be receptive to it.
Yeah, well, that was I guess the other comment I was gonna make was that the one parking space that's on Jackson Street there.
Yeah.
There's no buffering
Wow.
or vegetational.
it says existing evergreen hedge to remain.
Oh, where is that?
It's so tiny, you know, it's right.
Oh, that's out in the right of way though. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, don't tell Karen about that. She'll have it whacked down in a heartbeat.
I know.
Existing evergreen hedge to remain. God, that is, I see. So you will keep that,
Yes.
and that is Escalonia. I happen to know that. Okay. but it's in the right of way. If, you know, if the city doesn't care.
Well,
Yeah, it still provides the screening I think you would be looking for though.
park there, there's a parking space there.
Yeah.
That hedge.
Yeah, the hedge is very nice.
So,
Yeah,
rather would-
and this is that New Zealand flax and
Yeah, but that's no longer there,
it's no there? It's not there?
not currently, just like that for sale.
Huh. I don't like that flax anyway, but.
Can I interject on something? I'm sorry, I'm Greg Barton. That flax has been trimmed down. The fence got hit by a car recently. We've got to trim it down to repair the fence. It's
Greg, can you, just a minute, I'm gonna ask you to testify and you'll have to identify yourself and all that nonsense, so. Just a minute. Okay, so, let me, for right now, let's hold these thoughts in abeyance and we'll hear from the owners.
Okay,
Okay, are there any proponents? Presentation by proponents. So that would be you. Presumably, you're gonna be a proponent.
So I just wanted to speak. So I'm Greg Barton.
So give us your full name and your mailing address.
Greg Barton, 10647 Woodhaven Lane in Bellevue, Washington. I just wanted, I'm just here to answer questions, but with regard to the flax, it's been trimmed down because a car hit the fence, hit and run actually. So the section is gone right now. So we trimmed it down. We're repairing that right now. So we expect it's going to be going back up. So that entire corner then to the east, we intend that it stay there. You're right. Part of it is out in the right of way, but hopefully it will stay there.
Well, actually, it looks like if this is correct, it looks like both the flax and the pampas grass are on your property.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
It goes out.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, and they're probably in the clear vision area. I don't know. Do we regulate vegetation in the clear vision area?
Clear vision can go up to 3 feet.
And actually, if you look at it, we just put that trimmed down.
So you'd have to keep it at 3 feet for,
It's less than 3 feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But pampas grass gets, as you know, gets
We
huge.
trim it regularly.
So are you okay with the retention of the Escalonia that's going around your?
Generally, I mean, it is overgrown right now. There are places where it's really, really wide. So, I mean, we could keep it. We just need to figure out a way to get it managed.
You can cut that stuff down to, 1 foot and it'll come back in, a year.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that on the west, if that hedge stays, there really isn't any room to do any other landscaping to the west. We want a lawn. So that between there and the fence, there's only 3 feet, maybe something like that. So it's really narrow. We could do a little bit more landscaping on that Jackson side.
And it looks like David's is showing the hydrangeas. If that's hydrangeas,
See, the trick there though is there's the wall is going back 1 foot east. So the oceanfront setback staying at 1 foot. We currently have a deck there and then the hedge is there. So it's kind of in an odd spot, the hedge, after we do the construction.
mhm.
because he shows the hydrangeas between the hedge and your west wall.
Right.
Right, kind of where the current deck is.
But the deck's going away. I mean,
Right.
Correct.
so I mean, that's possible. If that's possible, that's a good thing, isn't it?
I'm sorry, all I'm saying is that the hedge is kind of in an odd spot after we do all that, though.
Yeah.
We could do the same plant new, in where the hydrangeas are planted.
Right.
Which would you prefer? You like the hedge or the hydrangeas?
That, you said that hedge is low maintenance. I think we have professionally trimmed twice a year
Uh-huh,
and then I trim it more. Those grow wild.
right.
So they're really.
Yeah, they really are very. The elk are doing you a favor by nibbling at it, more than twice a year.
So, our desire probably was to take them out. All except, so we're keeping half of that total hedge.
Right. Along Jackson, I think that's big.
And that's partly for erosion purposes too. There's actually a slope right there.
Mhm.
Where that hedge is.
It does give you some buffering from the southwest.
Yeah, it's a nice buffer.
And in the wind that, or the wind driven sand that comes right down the southwest.
Yeah. So I guess our preference would be David's plan.
Okay.
With the retention of the Escalonia.
On
Well,
the
no.
south side.
No, so on the south side, yes, but on the west side, it's the existing hedge is its placement is sort of wrong after we replace the house.
Yeah.
It's out in the middle, could be right in the middle of the yard, kind of.
Mhm.
So if you really want that plant, I think it would be that plant, those existing ones come out. We could plant some new ones closer to the house if that's
I
what
see.
you wanted.
Okay.
Well, I want them to plant what they want, but that's where just, yeah. I mean,
You're gonna,
the elk will.
yeah. I'm not worried about the elk. I mean, the elk will do what the elk do,
Right.
but, there's, I mean, we have to stick with our criteria.
Mhm.
I mean, if you were gonna go with elk proof everything, it would be nothing but barberry,
Right.
Now, the hydrangeas do offer actually more texture,
Oh, yeah.
symmetry and flowers.
Mhm.
They really,
Yeah, that's some color.
Yeah.
That's some nice color. Okay, any other thoughts, Greg?
I think I just repeat what David said. I mean, we'd like to get approval. We're happy to accommodate landscaping if you want to try to do something different. So we're happy to have a condition of doing something more, but
Yeah,
I think there's not a lot to work with there. The criteria we're talking about sound like a lot bigger property, and we're not a commercial property, right? We're a little tiny thing there.
yeah. Okay. All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay, any presentation by opponents? Okay, any staff response?
Staff recommends approval with conditions. The condition that we included is the approved landscape plan showing 40% of the property in landscape as defined by municipal code and 20% living plant materials prior to the issuance of the building permit. That was written prior to the receipt of a landscaping plan.
Okay. All right, well, let's, I'll
This
ask,
fulfills that. This fulfills.
Correct. This fulfills that.
so we can, let's just get these things out of the way. Is there a motion to approve the site plan? Actually, the site plan is the whole enchilada here.
You want to close the public hearing?
Do I have to at this point?
Well, before you make a motion.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll close the public hearing. And is there a motion to approve the site plan?
I move to approve the site plan as submitted with.
I second.
We can discuss it. I mean, it seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the well, I'll get into it with the architecture, but it seems logical and not too aggressive. So it's, respectful to neighbors, et cetera.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of site plan?
Aye.
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 Jen says aye. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the architectural design?
I move to approve the architectural design as submitted.
I second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, is there a motion to approve the landscape design?
I'll make a motion to approve the landscape design as submitted.
I'm afraid,
What?
I'm afraid to say anything.
Why?
Well, because you're so like, we have to pick at it and I don't know enough to know about it.
Well,
Well, I think we've had a discussion
You
and
can either-
and they realize what, the elk or the wind and the sea salt.
And the butterfly trail,
Right, but
it's important.
we need a second so we can discuss this.
Okay, second. Right.
Okay. Well, I guess my feeling is that it would be nice if that Escalonia hedge could be replicated around the front of the building. As Mr. Barton said, you've got that and some color added in the form of hydrangeas or whatever on the south side, maybe along the west side as shown on the plan. Is that acceptable to?
it's
Well,
acceptable, sure.
Can you have both the hydrangeas and the escallonia
Yeah.
hedge on the west side?
I think you can.
So they were kind of
I mean, he's,
in each other's way.
if you eliminate the existing hedge and replant it, you've got a lot of room to work with there. All the way out to the property line. So we can, is that acceptable as an addition to the landscape plan? Anita, you made the motion.
That's acceptable to me.
Okay,
So to clarify, that would be that the hedges on the west side would be retained or replicated.
yeah, I think we would allow for, replication. With some additional colors such as hydrangeas.
Okay.
Okay, you want to.
What about on the south?
What's that?
What about on the south side?
That's gonna be retained, I think.
Did you
Well,
want?
they've got the big Escalonia hedge in the street there.
Yeah, you don't want anything between that and the house.
Well, they've got grass, they've got a lawn,
Okay,
existing lawn right there next to that parking area. Yeah, I think if there could be some color there, but it's not going to show very well because it's behind the hedge, between the hedge and the building. But I think they could be encouraged to include more color, different types of material, plant material on the south side. So does that, can you put that in the form of a motion that we can understand, Robert?
We do already have a motion though.
Yeah, you have to amend, I guess you have to amend since you made the motion, amend your motion to do.
How about if I withdraw my motion and then, because I'm not quite sure I'm understanding what we're asking as far as landscaping, where I just felt that if they're meeting the requirements of the percentage for soft and hardscape, that I'm willing to let them plant. But I do like that the Jackson Road hedge staying, so.
Well, that's not part of
Right,
that's outside the
So-
plan.
so maybe I should just withdraw my motion and it can be done.
Well, yeah, make a new motion.
Well, I'm not quite sure. I think that if you're saying that you want the south side, I'm not quite sure where you're talking about.
Well, the south side is on Jackson. I think we were talking about the west side Escalonia,
On the west side, yeah.
the west side Escalonia hedge. And maybe the color, so the landscape plan does show like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hydrangea plants along the west side.
Mhm.
And maybe, and then if they reproduce the Escalonia hedge, it can be closer to the building to enclose it. I don't know. But is this getting too complicated?
Yeah.
Can I throw out another, I'm understanding you correctly? So you could always move to approve the landscape design with the condition of the hedges on the west side be retained or replicated with additional colors with hydrangeas.
Sounds good. You
Perfect.
like that? Is that your motion?
That'd be my motion.
And do you have a second?
Oh, yes, second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do what Anita saying.
Jen,
Jen,
yes.
yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Good work.
Good. We got through that. All right. So, thank you very much. I
Yes.
think you got the drift there, I hope.
Thank you.
David.
Thank you.
All right,
All right. Good stuff.
okay, the next one is the DRB 2222 request by Security Signs on behalf of Jillian Ironman for signage using alternative materials at 273 Beaver Street in a limited commercial C1 zone. The property is owned by Ironman Creations LLC and will be reviewed under 17.44 design review, where 17.56 signage requirements apply. All right. This is the public hearing, is it not?
No,
Oh, it's not.
it's not a public hearing.
Oh, okay, so we're just discussing it, right?
You're gonna discuss and you can vote on it, but it's not.
Yeah, but not a public hearing.
Correct.
Okay, good. So, is there a staff report?
Yes, there is. Excuse me. The applicant is requesting design review approval for one new sign using alternate materials in the limited C1 zone at 273 Beaver Street. This is an existing standalone mixed-use building with a commercial space on the lower floor and residential space upstairs. Sign would be placed above an awning over the door to the ground level commercial space and consists of a vinyl wrap with a printed graphic on marine grade plywood. DRB's role is to review the proposed sign's color, material, size, and design. The proposed wall mounted sign dimensions are 2 feet by 3 feet inches tall. 2 foot 3 inches tall by 10 feet wide with an area of 22.5 square feet. This meets dimensional requirements of 1756-040. The proposed sign includes a vinyl wrap, which is considered an alternative material requiring DRB approval. The application materials indicate the dimensions of the largest letter height would be 13.25 inches, which exceeds the limit of 12 inches for the sign ordinance. This criterion will be satisfied if the height is limited to 12 inches or less. And a proposed condition of approval number 2 would restrict that height. DRB applies municipal code 1744-090 to propose materials, colors, textures, patterns to determine if the proposed signage harmonizes with the other structures in terms of form, materials, and scales to provide visual interest and charm to the coastal setting of the city.
So I didn't understand that. What it says, what is it about? Let's see, application material indicated that dimensions of the largest letter height will be 13.25.
Correct.
Exceeds the limit of 12.
Correct. They're limited to 12 inches in height. So I put a condition of approval that would restrict letter height to 12 inches instead of their proposed 13.25.
Okay, so you're saying that the 13.25 it exceeds the criteria.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So we do get to decide on the proposed materials, colors, textures, patterns to determine if this proposed signage harmonizes with other structures in terms of form, materials, and scales to provide visual interest and charm to the coastal setting of the city. So we can just launch into the discussion. What who wants to start? Go ahead.
Michelle? I feel like that doesn't go with any, the material, vinyl, like, and I actually printed up our regulations that we're supposed to be sticking to wood, and I feel like we're getting further and further away from our sign ordinances, and this doesn't have it goes against like all the signs that are downtown. And I think it is already like, it is too big, and the color is not cohesive with any sign that's downtown. Or any business that is not just downtown, midtown too. So I would say that
You don't like it.
Looks like an outlet mall sign.
it's incorrect. It's like,
You don't like it.
yeah, and it's not that I just don't like it, it's just, I don't like it, yes, but
All right.
it doesn't follow any of the.
Okay. Anita?
Well, I felt that the municipal code zone 17.56.030 applied for signs, J materials. Signs shall be constructed of wood or have a wood exterior or be painted or etched on a window or be part of an awning. And I just,
Correct. But it also says that alternative materials may be reviewed and approved by design review board. So that's why we're
Right.
having,
That's why we're,
right,
Yeah,
but that's, those aren't, so then you can go to the other criteria.
So it's our-
Does it look like Cannon Beach?
yeah,
Is it, does it cause a distraction coming into town? When you see that, any potential maybe for glare? I know that it's on the north side of the building, but since it's vinyl, it just seems that it just seems out of character for Cannon Beach.
I feel like the signs are just getting further and further, like the other Brothers Bar was an alternative material, and it's only on one side. I didn't even realize that it's just on one side. It looks wonky. And then we approved somebody else's sign that like they had it made already, and it's an alternative material. And I don't know why we're getting further and further away from what the signs have been in the past.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would also agree with Michelle, and I think it's just something to flag that maybe some of the sign approvals have just gotten a little loose, and it is showing downtown where I know it's cheaper probably to make a vinyl sign. I mean, again, just even opening up a business recently and looking into making a really well-crafted sign out of cedar or whatever, it's definitely an investment, but otherwise we're going to get things that do look like a cheap plastic shopping mall of some sort, So I think it is something we need to think about.
Jen, are you on your cell phone? What is it?
I am. Can you hear me?
No, your audio is terrible, but I mean, it's,
Oh,
I can hear you.
we can hear you,
sorry.
I hear you, but we can't understand you.
but yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I'm on my mobile. I'm on my car phone. I'm driving back to the coast. Sorry.
All right. Well, I think we got the
Phone
drift.
driving.
You don't feel it's compatible with the criteria?
Correct.
No, is that what you said?
Yeah, correct. And that we just have to consider signs. It's gotten a bit loose in general. I would agree with Michelle.
Okay. Dave, what's your feeling?
I don't think it fits. It's far enough off the main entry road that it won't be glaring.
You think it would be a distraction though, when you're coming into town?
No,
You see
because
that,
there's another business to the east from here before you get to the road. But
But isn't that her intent by having a sign that looks like that, is so that you draw attention
Yeah.
to that building?
Yeah.
And that would be a distraction.
Yeah. So I agree with what is said, that we're getting further and further away from the criteria for signs that we have in place. And this one kind of is glaringly
The furthest.
different
Glaringly different.
from
Yeah.
our criteria.
It is.
I
totally.
don't think we should approve it.
All right, well,
I give some recommendations on maybe some materials. I mean, wood, I mean, the fact that it's called Hip Nest, I mean,
That has no-
and she wants, the building is ocean. I mean, could she use driftwood or something and be creative and artsy and as far as a sign that if she wants to place it on the building, maybe?
well, that's up to her. She's got to
Right.
come, I mean, if we deny it, she has to come back with
Okay.
another proposal.
Okay, but I
Well,
mean, it's something that we might, that's where I'm just trying to get that. Would we be more favorable to a design that had maybe more natural materials in the wood
Yeah,
that are stated in the,
Yeah, so she doesn't have to keep coming back.
you know, that she knows that
Yeah.
this is the sign that we would hope that you would
and color,
present.
and colors as well. Color.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely
Are
different.
you okay with the colors or?
No,
I think the colors are not in keeping with the look of Cannon Beach
Okay,
sign.
Hey, Mike, is my audio a bit better now?
that's better, much better.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm still driving, but
That's
yeah,
dangerous,
I'm
Ken.
I'm not looking at the phone, I promise.
Okay.
But no, I'm in agreement with all of you. I do think this sign, it's, I think some of the sign reviews have been pushing and pushing a little bit more relaxed every time. And this one's just showing us like, it's too big. It's of an inorganic material. The colors are pretty wild for, I think what Cannon Beach is have. And hopefully we can give her some direction, like an actual natural material. Even, I mean, we could lean into natural paint, like paint materials, if she wants to use color. Cause I know from the meeting when she was trying to paint the building, she really loves color. So I think if we can provide some options, then yeah, she doesn't have to keep coming back and we can all meet kind of in the middle there.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I tend to agree, and I don't think I need to add anything. So basically, we need a motion to approve or deny. And if it's a denial, then it's just that's it. They just need to come back with an alternative. Although Robert, I would not want them to have to reapply. So how do we do this? Should we continue the discussion?
Well, I mean, really, it is a matter of approve or deny. If you do deny, they will have a right to make an appeal to city council. Alternately, they could choose to come back with a different plan on their own, but it's not really within the purview of the board or city staff to tell or suggest to them how to.
No, that's not my point. That would it be a completely new application with a fee and everything if they wanted to come back with a different design?
If they wanted to come back with a different design using alternate materials, yes. It would also be a different application, even if they came in with a different sign application. But if they were to come back with one that meets the criteria of using standard materials such as wood, they would not need to come in front of DRB.
Despite the color, despite whatever the color is.
As long as it is using natural materials, then it doesn't have to come in front of DRB. The only time that it says it has to come in front of design review board is when it's using alternative materials.
That's right.
is paint considered a natural material?
It is considered permitted
Okay.
on wood. But the thing is, because they're using the vinyl wrap over the plywood, it's the wrap itself that's considered the material.
Well, and then the size is
The
not.
size fits. The size,
I was reading that it was,
the size of the lettering is too big, but the size of the sign itself fits.
okay,
Okay, who wants to make the motion?
I have no idea what to do.
You make the motion.
So I will make a motion to deny the sign application as presented.
I will second.
Been moved and seconded to deny the application. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Okay, unanimous. Okay. Moving right along.
Did we find out if he appeals to do we find out?
There would, I believe there would be a notice. We haven't really had a whole lot of DRB appeals.
Okay.
But it would be handled essentially the same way as a planning commission.
Okay, just curious.
Okay, DRB 2223 request by Canopy Design Company on behalf of Terry Lackadon and Pacific Suites / Hallmark Hotel for signage using alternative materials at 1287 Pacific tax lot, blah, 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 in the residential motel RM zoning district. The property is owned by the Hay Family Limited Partnership and will be reviewed under 14.44 design review, where 14.56 signage requirements apply. Okay, this again is not a public hearing. So we have a staff report.
Yes, this is essentially very similar to the previous item. The applicant is requesting design review approval for 2 new signs using alternate materials at the residential motel zone at 1287 Pacific Street. There is an existing hotel that is currently being renovated. The signs will be placed on the east and west facades of the structure, with the eastern sign replacing existing signage. The proposed wall-mounted sign dimensions are 3 feet by 3 feet 1 inch tall by 7 feet wide, with an area of approximately 24 square feet. This meets dimensional requirements of 1754-040. Proposed signs will be made with acrylic that would then be painted or gilded. The acrylic is considered an alternative material, DRB approved by 1756-030. The application materials do not indicate the dimension of the largest letter height, which is limited to 12 inches. This criterion will be satisfied if letter height is limited to 12 inches or less. And proposed condition of approval number 2 would limit that letter height to 12 inches. DRB applies municipal code 1744-090 C, D, and L to propose materials, colors, textures to determine if the proposed signage harmonizes with the other structures in terms of form, materials, and scales to provide visual interest and charm to the coastal setting of the city.
All right. So we have the applicant is in the house. It says Darby Turner, and we know that's incorrect. Darwin, you want to come up and talk to us?
Sure. I'm Darwin Turner, PO Box 488, Cannon Beach, 97110. And so what we're looking at is, we're looking at using acrylic letters. They're dimensional letters that would be attached directly to the building rather than a board. They went through a process with the client to, determine what they desired and liked. And so they've given several options. And so the reason we wanted to use acrylic, these are going to be painted anyway. And so, as far as wood from a distance on the building, you're not going to know the difference between wood, metal, or acrylic. And so acrylic was chosen because it's going to just last longer. You're going to get a better product and it looked nicer for more years down the road. So that's the reason, to use the acrylic.
What are the alternatives what else would you, if you had to use natural materials, what would you do? You'd have to build a cedar a cedar box and carve it out?
Well, we could, that was one of the designs, but you know, with the letters cut out individually and attached to the building. So it's kind of less obtrusive than a big board, you know, or big wood piece on the building. Think that's why they gravitated towards that idea. So you see more of the wood shingles of the building with the letters, you know, just on the building. So, I mean, they could be cut out of wood, but they're going to be painted and they're just not going to last as long, you know, in the weather we have here. So,
You have to use cedar, of course, right?
right. But even that with painted, sometimes what'll happen is it traps the moisture inside and it, you know, kind of dry rots from within, even though they're, you know, painted. So, yeah, acrylic was just chosen. And it's an industry standard that stands the test of time.
What's the signboard material called? MDO or?
MDO is the marine plywood that is,
Oh. Isn't
we
that,
could use that, but the edges of that fail pretty rapidly. It's not.
you'd have to trim it out or something? Huh?
Yeah, even primed. It just doesn't gonna last as long, so.
What is MDO is wood, but it's
Yeah.
it's like particle board, right?
No, it's a laminated,
Marine grade
yes,
plywood.
marine plywood is what it is. So you have laminated layers depending, you know, 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch. It is. I mean, the marine plywood lasts really good. It's just, you know, if you have a big board of it, you just have a little, you know, just the exposed edge of that board. But on a letter, if you cut the letter out, you have all the way around the letter that's exposed and, you know, it just doesn't last.
But you could have a board that was 93 by 37 and trimmed out on the edges and then paint or carve the,
Yeah. So you'd have a sandblasted sign basically at that point. And that was one of the
options.
designs that were offered to Pacific Suites and they
Didn't like that.
leaned towards. I think they felt that if there's less obtrusive with having the letters I don't know if you have a printout of
Yeah.
what it looks like. Yeah, there you go. So it kind of is, you know, you have the wood of the building show through. In that sense, I think that was why they went that direction.
Okay. Anything else?
There's possible gold leaf,
What's that?
possible gold leaf.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna, you know, gold leaf and actually gild them in gold leaf or use a gold paint. That would, you know, have more of a matte finish.
You do gold leaf?
Yeah.
That must be outrageously expensive these days.
I was surprised it wasn't, last time I bought, you know, some books of gold leaf, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it's a lot more from when I used to.
Than
buy it.
paint, yeah.
Let's put it that way. It's like 3 times more than,
It lasts a long time, of course.
but yeah, you get such good longevity out of the gold leaf. It's great.
Okay.
Any other questions or anything?
Any other questions?
I'm not entirely sure that the owners aren't my landlord. So,
Hayes?
yeah, I'm not sure. I know it's like split one way, so I don't know if I have to like.
Oh.
Out.
Who is your own?
It's like Bondi's mom, Pam, and
Pam, Pam and Frank?
yeah.
Yeah, they're not, they're a separate,
I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
they're separate from the family that owns Hallmark. I'm quite sure.
Okay. Just saying.
It's Pam is a Hay,
Yeah,
but but they, they split the.
They got the
corporation.
buildings, I think, from what I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah. No, I don't think you have to
Okay,
recuse yourself, as they say.
checking. I thought you might know.
I do know, yeah, because they're my neighbors, actually,
Yeah, yeah.
the Hayes or McLean's. So, anyway, you want to start? What's your feeling about it?
That's my feeling. Why do I have to start?
Okay, we'll start with Dave. We'll start with Dave.
Kind of like the approach they're using with just sticking letters on without a backing board. And like he says, it's gonna be painted anyway, so. Differences will make if the material is wood or acrylic, you're not gonna see it.
Nita?
Well, I'm sorry to say that I don't care for it at all. I feel that it looks to me like Embassy Suites in Beaverton sort of signage that does not fit in the character of Cannon Beach. Seeing the wood and doing a site visit and looking, it seems like, it's not real cedar shingle that's on there and just painted on the outside of the building, is it?
I think it's the original cedar shingles or whatever they had and they.
Okay,
Oh, is that right?
huh?
It's not,
It doesn't look like, but
it's not hardy plank or anything.
No, it's actual wood.
So, I mean, I'm guessing that the reason that they want signage there is to be seen. So when you say, well, this is not gonna really be seen, seems to contradict, why are you putting it up there in the first place? It's just as a locator for guests to come?
Yeah, I think they didn't want to be gaudy and too big. But they wanted something that, could be
Mhm.
seen as guests try to find
Mm.
the hotel, so.
Yeah, I mean,
That's shooting for understated.
yeah. And I see that they already have electrical lighting, it looks like, where they want to place that, so. But in doing a site visit, I mean, I thought, just maybe a little freestanding sign that said whatever Pacific Suites, I guess they're gonna call it, just for location, just something that is smaller
I
and
like that idea.
wasn't so, on the building. And then we're not discussing, cut out gold acrylic versus, and it seems like more in character with Cannon Beach is just having a nice little sign that is intrusive and doesn't look like a suburban hotel.
What they had before was a board, a cedar sandblasted
Right.
sign that was on, I think it was in a different location, but they had it on two.
I think it was towards Hemlock.
As well, so
And
they
they,
just moved it over, or the signage that they want, they're just moving over to the that other portion of the building, so.
Yeah.
it's kind of, yeah, I mean, it's kind of odd that the east side, okay, I get it. Yeah, that's the side that faces the Legion,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the west side faces the Hayes house. Yeah. Kind of an
Hard
odd,
to see.
kind of an odd place to have it.
Yeah, that's where I thought in the corner there. A freestanding sign that said Pacific Suites would locate it.
Of course, we
For
would,
guests.
yeah, we would review a freestanding sign as well. So Michelle, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Anita.
Okay,
I like the idea. I mean, yeah, I think it looks a little Embassy Suitesy too. Is that a word? uh, I like the idea of a freestanding sign and yeah, that is the one that goes towards the Legion. Okay.
okay,
But if it's on the corner, it would be visible both. What's the street that?
That's Dawes, yeah.
And
and well, that's not a street between the Legion and or maybe.
No, that is a street.
yeah,
Is it?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
after Gower, then it's
Yeah, it's a street.
No, the street that runs north and south right between the Legion and the building is not, I don't think
Oh, that's an alley.
it's an alleyway.
But I think, aren't they asking to put it on the street side? Facing.
Yeah, then that's,
What's the-
yeah, that's either Pacific or Ocean.
Hey-
I think it's
Hey,
Pacific.
Mike,
Yes,
I've just got one quick question, comment, I guess, before we get too far in the weeds. I don't know, I guess I would, with the acrylic versus wood conversation, I would love to see us take a more environmental stance, I guess, on signage and material. Whereas like, I understand the argument that acrylic lasts longer, but I mean, you're still producing like, we're still, with a sign that is synthetic, we're still producing a lot of waste with that. And wood being an organic material that's going to eventually, you know, decompose and regenerate in a way. So are we, I guess, like as a committee, thinking about that? I'm just kind of opening it up to the group that I'm confused when I hear like it lasts longer. It's like, well, that's not really the point. Plastic lasts longer too, but right, we've got like plenty of, that's not an argument anymore. It's pretty moot at this point, I think, like scientifically. So just curious if we could just open that up to the group and like, let's lean into organic materials. I don't know why Cannon Beach is strayed so far away from that. And to me, that part is just like a no-go. And well, I guess whatever sign they want to do, fine, but let's just do it right with good materials.
well, it's true. I hear you, but I did also, I'm shocked by the prices of cedar these days, which has always been the go-to material for signage in town. And
Yeah.
I don't know what a board foot of clear cedar is. You probably do, Darwin. I mean, it's outrageous.
Yeah,
It's probably $4 or something.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. But one question I have is, so along the lines of organic materials then is metal. Would that be considered an alternative rather than acrylic or wood? Because I think it would last longer than the wood.
Robert?
So yes, metal is considered an alternate material. It would, you know, have to be reviewed.
Oh, okay, so we could go that route as well, you know.
If you get wood, you get to make more signs and you get more work.
Yeah. Doesn't look as nice as long for this particular thing. I mean, I love the stand blasted carved and the hand, carved signs. I love those. I don't get to do a lot of them, but I do love those and prefer those. But
Let's do it. Let's start the movement.
I think so too. I agree.
Get the code to make it happen. So, but, maybe in this situation, a metal material would be a better route. to go.
We'd have to review it, yeah. Well, I don't think we need to, I'd like to give him an opportunity to come back with another proposal. It sounds like nobody except for Dave, likes the vinyl. So I would say, let's don't make a motion. Let's continue this discussion to the next meeting and give them an opportunity to come back with a metal cedar MDO, something that meets the criteria.
I think it's my understanding from what Robert was saying is that if we do wood, then we don't need to.
You don't need to come back.
Correct.
Don't need to. come
That's
back.
right.
Correct. If this exact design was made out of wooden materials, we would not be having.
This discussion,
Or even if it was a sandblasted sign, right?
right,
One of the alternative choices.
including MDO, the marine plywood.
It's considered a natural material.
Yeah.
So unless they are using the MDO as a base to put a wrap on or something.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's I think, is that acceptable to all the members that he can either come back with another alternative material like metal, or he can do wood in some form.
Sounds
And,
good to me.
all right, is that all right, Dave? Are you okay with that?
Oh, I want plastic. The only question I would have is you proposed a freestanding sign instead, which would review that in any.
Yeah, you'd have to come back with a different
Yeah.
application for a freestanding sign.
Okay, well, I'm fine with what you said.
So they could do wood cut out letters, just like this.
Just like this.
Goes
on-
without-
On either side of the building, just like it's shown, except it's wood,
Except that it would be wood letters.
yeah.
Well. Yeah. In their natural color, or would you paint it?
Still be painted, yeah,
It would have to be painted.
yeah.
And then they don't have to be reviewed.
Mhm. Well, I guess that's what I would sort of prefer is that they use wood if they want to put the lettering on the building, or come back with a freestanding sign that I don't know what the cost difference would be.
Okay.
Given the wood, but
Okay. Michelle,
Wait, there's already a sign there or there isn't?
There was, but they remodeled the building.
Okay, and so that's been approved and that's why we don't have any say on where. I'm
Well, I think
confused by this,
That Robert probably,
because I thought we had to approve placement when it's put on a building.
no,
You're only approving alternative materials. Normally, sign applications don't go in front of DRB unless they are using alternative materials other than wood.
Okay,
So if, for example, we've had applications for downtown where somebody comes in fact, I believe you come in with window stickers.
Uh-huh.
That's something that doesn't have to go through DRB. With wooden signs, those don't have to go through DRB. But if it's, for example, like the Hip Nest sign tonight, where it used the vinyl wrap, or with this, the only reason we're discussing is because it's using acrylic versus wood, then yes, it does come in front of
okay.
DRB.
So they can do whatever they want within the criteria as long as it's wood.
yeah,
Okay,
or natural.
I'm gonna get creative.
It could be some other natural materials, I would assume, like you could make it out of seaweed. Yeah.
Wait, I like that.
Last very long, but,
exactly.
okay, so you have your marching orders then? We don't have to take a motion,
Right,
do we?
good.
Unless you're making a motion to continue to next month.
I think that's what you wanted.
Unless you want to comply with unless you want to comply with the standards that are exempt from our review, you can come back to the DRB next
Metal
month.
letters would need to be.
Metal letters would be considered alternative.
So would we need to bring a whole new, we can't cover that tonight? Because I think that would be a natural alternative to the acrylic.
Oh, metal.
Yeah. They're, laser cut. Out of stainless steel or aluminum or.
I think that's almost the same. I mean, it's not the same as vinyl, but we're going into the same thing. And what we're all just saying is we want to kind of try to go back to like the wood. So I would say, unfortunately, no to the metal. Sorry, sir. But I mean, I don't know what else, but I think that we're all kind of trying to push to go back to, because we've gotten so far away from.
In this instance, though, once they're painted and up there,
Mhm.
literally it's just for.
Yeah.
longevity,
Yeah,
so they last better.
yeah.
I mean, so I guess, I'm not sure what the difference if visually it looks the same.
Can you paint?
It would,
Can you paint stainless steel?
yeah, it's powder coated.
Powder coated, yeah.
Something like that, so. But
Well,
So, I mean, that's the only reason we looked at the acrylic was, you know, typically we try to stick with wood.
Yeah.
okay, well, what do you want to do? Shall we continue the discussion to the December meeting or I guess we just deny it
As presented.
as presented.
I've been making motions all night, Michelle.
I mean, Michelle,
Come on,
I'm just
somebody-
thinking like, I think
It's
all.
like my second meeting.
Oh, sorry, go Jen.
all of us are-
Uh-oh,
Lost you, Jen.
Lost you.
Just went through the pass.
Yeah.
So make a motion, Michelle.
What am I? Oh, I don't want to. Okay, I motion to deny, or are we gonna talk about it further?
Your options are deny it or continue the hearing until the next meeting. Assuming that if he can meet the criteria of the code, like Cedar, then he won't come back to see us.
Okay, so wait, no,
So your option, you can say either deny or continue.
okay, I guess a motion to deny the thingy
As presented.
as presented.
Anita or
Second,
Dave? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
aye.
Jen?
I think we lost. her.
I'm here. Aye.
Aye. Dave?
Sure.
Aye. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's denied,
I still don't
the proposal is denied.
paint a wood letter
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, sorry.
has no intrinsic.
Seems so nice.
All right, go to the order. Or wait a minute, a motion to allow the chair to sign the appropriate orders on somebody.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And go to the order.
Well, I think as a committee, we probably should review some of the sign. I mean, I don't know. Anything that we need to do to tighten up.
Well, yeah, I agree. It'd be good to have some sort of, running inventory of recently approved signage. Yeah.
So
And just, no, I mean, like, there's a couple places like Kiki's for one, that sign to me, I mean, is that,
So one thing I will get into here is that we are aware that there are a significant number of unpermitted signs in downtown. We do have the intention of working with code enforcement to inventory those and to be reaching out to property owners. One sign in particular, and we have been in contact with them, is the Singing Sands or whatever it is, the marijuana shop at the north end of Hemlock. That sign has not been approved. It's not permitted. And like I said, that is a code enforcement issue. We're working with them. So we are aware that there are a number of signs out there that are not in compliance. And we're working on developing a strategy to address that.
okay,
The one thing you might explain to the members is that because of this Supreme Court decision, we, based on free speech, First Amendment, free speech, we cannot review the content of a sign. We can only review the the color, the size, the composition. Is that correct?
Correct. You can't review content. And I've also had experience working in code enforcement in Douglas County. We had similar sorts of issues where people would complain about signage, flags, things like that people would put on their property. No, we can't review content. Just simply what is in the municipal code as far as color standards, materials, things like that.
Right. So just keep that in mind.
What about the name on a sign? Somebody wanted a sign that said dipshit. I mean,
That,
that,
it's legal.
I'm changing my store name.
I have literally seen a sign that says Old Bitch Road. Somebody painted it, nailed it to a tree. We received a complaint and, this was in Douglas County. We received a complaint. In consultation with law enforcement and our legal department, we did not take an action.
okay. Okay, good to know.
They also, that Singing Sounds, they have parking signs. Is that, they put those parking signs up? Is that a signage?
Handicap, the ADA signs are required.
But they have like a 15-minute.
I've seen that. I do not believe that those are part of what was approved in their initial approval. So
Yeah.
like I said, there are some issues with that property and
There are a lot of issues.
There are a lot of issues with that.
we've been interacting with them.
Yeah, they were stapling to the phone poles. It was like, you can't do that.
Right.
Okay. So.
Okay.
Let's
All right.
have our signs here.
All right.
All right,
Okay, anything else? Thank you very much.
fun.
Dave's like, I'm on plastic.
Oh. Would